Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the poetry of Emily Dickinson. We are using the Johnson edition and we are now in poem 610. You'll find it when you try to die. Of course, Emily, amazing first lines. We've seen this so regularly in so many of her poems. This is another death poem, published, by the way, in the London Mercury, number 19 of 1929. The question is, how is it best to depart, to die? What is the best way for that to happen? And she'll give some very interesting advice about memory and remembering, especially those that one loves. Now, our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net. Down that left-hand side, chats with Emily, I play this. I'm hoping that you worked through our set of introductory comments in the preceding 609 poems. We just finished with 609 years had been from home. Now, in many ways, this poem is informed by Emily's study, can we say it that, her reading, her study, of Plato's Phaedo. We've given full lectures on it at learnstrong.net. You'll remember, Socrates, the old man, has been found guilty of any number of things, corrupting the youth, an atheist, all of those kinds of things. And in that famous final dialogue of the famous four dialogues from Euthyphro through Apology and Crito to now Phaedo, there is the hemlock shake waiting for Socrates to drink it, and he begins to have a conversation about death and about the soul and the immortality of the soul. Now, I think much of this poem is going to have that standing behind it. Some have read this poem as Emily the Buddhist, if we can even use that term. The idea of learning how to let go will be her phrase here, or you might call her Emily the Stoic, right? And again, we're back to Emily's project of remembering. Of course, we'll so many examples of this, right? I mean, even in the previous poem, the idea of how to understand or dance with memories. She says it this way: you'll find it when you try to die, the easier to let go, for recollecting such as went, you could not spare, you know. And though their places somewhat filled, as did their marble names with moss, they never grew so full. You chose the newer names. And when this world sets further back, as dying says it does, the former love distincter grows and supersedes the fresh, and thought of them so fair invites it looks too tawdry grace to stay behind with just the toys we bought to ease their place. Now, again, I love the way in which she begins with you, and we'll have at least 4 of them in this poem. We called our series Chats with Emily for a reason, number of them. One of those is this way in which Emily kind of reaches out in her poetry and speaks directly to you. And she says, you know, if you're thinking about dying, you should probably consider what you're thinking about when you think about dying. You'll find it, she says, when you try to die. It's an amazing way to say it, try to die. The easier to let go. Did you notice easier capitalized? And this letting go, when we get to poem 1184, we'll come back to this poem. The days that we can spare are those a function die or friend or nature stranded then in our economy. Our estimates a scheme, our ultimates a sham. We let go all of time without arithmetic of him. Now, this letting go project, you'll remember from 281, looking at death is dying, just let go the breath. You'll remember it at 295, they let go the ignominy smiling. And then, as we just read at 1184, we let go all of time. This idea that death is a releasing, is a letting go. And she says, but when it comes time to do that, by the way, that let go phrase is used in 10 of her poems. She says, when it's time for that, for a recollecting such as went, you could not spare, you know. In other words, she says, when it comes time for you to die, the likelihood is you will have known some people that will have already died. And so she says, we've worked really hard to forget about them because it's painful. But when it comes time to die, all of a sudden, let's start to think about them. I think Bryant's poem, Thanatopsis, those musings on death, we've given full lectures at learnstrong.net, also standing behind this set of lines. By the way, did you see the phrase you know from you'll find a you know? And though there are places, I love the word somewhat, filled, and the dead that you've lost, as did their marble names with moss. They never grew so full. We'll go from grew to grows, right? So full, you chose the newer names. In other words, you lost people, new people took quote unquote took their place, new names. And when this world sets further back, as dying says it does, again, this brilliant way of talking about what it's like to finally come to your end, the former love distincter grows. We start to think about the people who we loved, who we lost, as we get ready ourselves to die, and supersedes the fresh, the newer, and thought of them. So fair invites, it looks to tawdry, this idea of showy but really cheap, poor quality, we might say. By the way, supersedes and tawdry both only get used once in all of her poetry, and it's here. It looks to tawdry grace, notice capitalized, to stay behind with just the toys. I think just might be the key word of this poem. We bought to ease their place. Well, I think, notice the toys being referenced here as the playthings that we have in our life, people who replace the people who we have lost. And yet, when it comes to die, when it comes to pass, we start to think about those that we were very close to who have already gone before. I think at 2A, the message here is remembering those who died before will help us as we come to die ourselves. At 2B, the rhetoric of this poem, I think the personal direct pronoun here all the way through. Or is Emily speaking directly to herself? You could decide that one. At 3A, we mentioned 1184. We'll come back to it. We mentioned Brian's Thanatopsis as well. Of course, we can think about Whitman, her contemporary, and Song of Myself, Passage 6, Luckier to Die, Better and Luckier to Die. At 3B, it's an interesting question to own a poem like this. If you have to pass, who would you be thinking of? And are any of those folks already left, and therefore you're thinking of them now? Thank you.